Hello everyone and welcome back to the Colorado Rockies franchise. We're nearing the end of the month of June and quickly approaching the trade deadline. Brendan Rodgers is set to return in about a week's time, and Adael Amador has not been playing super well in his place. So, do we trade Rodgers and just let Amador continue to play even through the struggles? Do we put Rodgers back in the lineup? Obviously, Rodgers is the better player, there is no doubt about it, but Amador is seeing a lot of good improvements, although he has seen -1 contact against righties this season. I mentioned earlier in the season that I want to trade for a really good left-handed pitcher to enter our starting rotation. So let me show you the trades I have in mind. I'm not going to make any in this episode, I don't think, unless it's at the very end. But there's a few teams with decent lefties that are definitely selling, the White Sox being one of them with Garrett Crochet. I've mentioned that I'm not the biggest fan of Crochet because of his low stamina. Here is the trades they would want. Interestingly, they want to do a pitcher swap and take Michael King, but then also take Roman Anthony and Taylor Bowers. It's an intriguing trade, and Crochet really is an excellent player, but the 60 stamina is just super low. He's going to struggle to get through 5 innings, and he's been consistently bad in the simulation since we started in 2024. My favorite guy to get would be Tarik Skubal, but he is easily the most expensive. The Tigers want Michael King, Rob Karns, and Brenton Doyle. And if we say prospects only, they want Rob Karns, Jose Zavala, and Javier Soto. Now, I actually don't mind losing Jose Zavala and Javier Soto. I would hate to lose Rob Karns because he is probably our best prospect, but this is a trade we could do, and it would set us up with our ace for like the next 4 seasons, assuming we can re-sign Skubal, because he would be a rental. Keep that in mind. He has no more time on his contract. We would have to be the ones to pay him out his big contract. It seems like Rob Karns is the guy that they really want with this trade, which makes sense. He is a very good player, specifically with the bat. Could easily be a DH at the majors right now. You just hate to lose a guy like this because he's only 18 and he has 87 true potential. He's definitely going to be a very good player someday. Is it worth losing him to get one of the best lefties in the game? Let me know what you guys think about that one. We could go after Royals lefty Cole Ragans, who is 28, obviously not nearly on the level of a guy like Crochet or Skubal, but still a good player, and they are asking for a decent bit less. They want Roman Anthony and Henry Fong, one of our youngest relief pitchers. The Marlins are a team that are selling, and Jesus Luzardo is a very intriguing guy. He's an 85 overall at 28 years old, and the prospects they would want are Jose Zavala and Drew Romo. This is a trade I would be very willing to do. Jose Zavala is turning into a very good player, but we do have way too many righties in our farm system, so I don't mind losing him, and Drew Romo has kind of been an odd man out for a while. I think in terms of what we're giving up, this is probably the best trade we've seen thus far. And then the last player I'll mention is Mackenzie Gore, who is also quite interesting. The Nationals were sitting around 500. They're now 10 games under 500, so I do think that they will be selling, and this is what they want, Roman Anthony and Henry Fong as well. I'm thinking that the best trade for the value is probably to go after Jesus Luzardo, and he is having a very good year. If you're curious, his true potential is 85, so he's basically at his peak right now. And I've talked a lot about wanting to trade Alex Verdugo. He's making me second guess that for sure. He's playing like one of the best players on this team right now. He has really stepped up with the Ezekiel Tovar injury. He has 53 RBIs right now, which is tied for what he had last season. He's seeing significant improvements in contact against lefties, and he's a good fielder with a great arm. It's hard to want to trade him away because he's having such an impact on the roster right now, but we could maybe bundle him into a trade to go after a bigger name like a Tarik Skubal. But let me know what you guys think. Michael King is currently second in Cy Young voting to Dustin May. I did not know he was having that good of a season. I believe that we are going to be doing the MLB draft this episode, and we honestly might figure out what we're going to do with guys like Brendan Rodgers. A 1-0 shutout against Toronto with Michael King on the mound. 8 innings pitched, 11 strikeouts, no earned runs. Johan Oviedo has back stiffness and will be out for a day or two. We'll keep him active. We lose the second game against Toronto 3-4. Oviedo only got 1 out. He gets injured frequently. I'll be honest with you guys, I am not super thrilled about this draft class. I'm still quite interested in Jason Kaiser, I have to say. He's just a well-rounded player with really good power, and we are lacking significant power on this team. He might be my first round pick, despite the fact that he's probably not worth the 12th, just because I know we won't see him at 31. Steve Dolan is also a guy I'm considering taking at 12. He's fallen down our draft board to 34, but also just a pretty well-rounded guy with good vision and good discipline. Mostly a contact hitter though, and we just do not need more outfielders. Game number 3 against Toronto is a 4-3 victory, and it was actually a pretty good outing from Quinn Priester. I believe this would be considered a quality start, only allowing 3 earned runs through 6 innings pitched. Did have 5 walks to 4 strikeouts. I mean, we would take an outing like that pretty much every time. I would prefer, obviously, he not walk as much. And officially, Brendan Rodgers is no longer injured. We win the first game of a series against Oakland 6-2, and it was Satchel Paige again getting a quality start. 7.2 innings pitched, 2 earned runs. Barry Cohen also seems to no longer be slumping, is just consistently getting about a hit per game right now. Amador got 2 hits in this one and is hitting a 218. So now the question becomes, what do we do with Brendan Rodgers? He was not playing particularly well before getting injured, although I would probably argue that he was playing better than Amador is currently, and we are actually now seeing quite a bit of regression from Adael Amador. -4 to contact against righties. I'll be honest, guys, I don't think we can let this level of regression continue. I think he has to go back down to AAA, maybe even AA, and get some playing time down there. Like, he's getting boosts in a lot of areas, but losing power and contact against righties by -4 just isn't really acceptable. He's pretty much guaranteed to be on the team next season, so don't worry too much about the fact that he's going to get sent down now. I can't afford to have him regressing the way he is. He has to go back down to AAA. We may still trade Brendan Rodgers this season, although it is significantly less certain at this point. I think currently with Tovar out, he stays on the team, but when Tovar comes back, we can definitely consider it a bit more. And we're going to make another change. Jordan Beck has continued to not play particularly well. He is seeing a significant amount of improvement to his power against righties in particular, although his power against lefties has gone down. He's getting better, and he's getting better quickly, but I still don't think he is ready to be at the MLB, and currently I don't think that his production is helping the team very much. Now you might be thinking, do I bring up Yanquiel Fernandez? Is that the guy that I'm going to replace Jordan Beck with? I don't think so. Fernandez has been pretty good at AAA, nothing overly special, but he is seeing some regression to his contact and his power against lefties. I think he's fine where he is. I think AAA is suiting him for now. The guy I'm actually going to bring up to make his MLB debut is Rob Karns. He raked in the month of June. He's up to a .316 batting average, a .395 on base percentage, .510 slugging, and a .905 OPS. He has a 1.7 WAR. His fielding percentage kind of sucks, but he's going to play in left, so it's not going to be that big of a deal at the MLB level. He has one of the best bats on the entire roster. The batting clutch isn't there, but he does not have to hit in a big time clutch position. Rob Karns, now is your chance. Welcome to the MLB level. In hindsight, we probably should have expected the poor level of play from Adael Amador. He was struggling at AAA before being called up, only a .213 batting average, and that appears to have transferred over to the majors. In fact, he was playing slightly better at the MLB level than he was at AAA, it looks like, although he did have a better OPS at AAA. But this is the new lineup. We've got Rob Karns plugged in at left field. Welcome everybody to Oakland. The Rockies taking on the Oakland Athletics today, and it's the debut of Rob Karns. He was drafted only 1 season ago, nearly 1 year ago exactly, and now it's his opportunity to make a debut at the MLB level at the young age of 18. Barry Cohen did it a year ago. Can Rob Karns do the same and do it well? Look at that. We actually have the #1 ranked farm system in all of baseball. 12 top 100 prospects. Parker Messick on the mound for the Athletics. They actually have a young left-handed pitcher that is quite good in Terry Clay, but he's only 21. I don't think a team that's rebuilding would trade away a 21-year-old pitcher. So here we go, Rob Karns. He'll wear the number 30, at least for now. Let me know what number you guys would prefer to see. He does have an accurate arm, but it is not very strong, and he is a really, really bad fielder. But left field is where really, really bad fielders go to play. And now here's his first plate appearance in the top of the second. A runner on first. He does have poor batting clutch. Swing and a miss. 1-2 count for Karns. Pitch on the way, just low. Left one hanging there, and Karns got a piece of it, but flies out to left. What I'm thinking for the outfield going into season number 4 is probably keeping Karns permanently in left field. I don't know if he'll ever truly be a third baseman with that poor fielding. And then Fernandez in right field, Doyle in center. And then maybe just keep that man, Nolan Jones, at third base. He's not bad as a corner infielder. Rockies up 3-0 off of a Nolan Jones RBI single. And Karns get his first base hit today. I would hope so. That one is a good one to hit. Pretty deep from Karns again, but flies out to center field. And now it's 6-1. Jones RBI and a walk is something I saw there. Top of the 6th, the Rockies looking to get another victory against the A's today. And that's strike number 1. Grounder over to third. Karns not slow, but not particularly fast either. And that is another out for the young left fielder. 0 for 3, and now he has runners in scoring position in the top of the 7th. Karns has worked the count full. This has been a very long at-bat. And a swing and a miss on the fastball. 0 for 4 day for Rob Karns. Bottom of the 9th, it is a 6-4 game now. 2 outs, and it looks like Karns might get the opportunity to get the final one. It's Helsley on the mound. Jordan Diaz at the plate. Pitch on its way, and it will not be playable. Karns is there, but Rogers stops it. The Rockies do catch a victory, though, in Karns' debut. Unfortunately, unable to get a hit, though. 6-4 is the final. Player of the game is Luis Arraez with 3 hits. Rosario went 0 for 4 alongside Rob Karns. And a really good outing from Chase Dollander, 7 2/3, giving up 3 earned runs, 7 strikeouts, 4 walks. So Mike Soroka is back off the injured list. And I definitely don't think Quinn Priester has earned keeping that spot. So Soroka will get plugged back in, and Priester will likely be sent back down to AAA. Let's run it back with Rob Karns. I really want to get his first hit. Give him some positive momentum. He will be the full-time left fielder while he's up with the big league team. I don't know if this will be a permanent spot for him at the moment, but we shall see. I'm not even sure why we were involved in that play. So here we go. Top of the 2nd. Runners on 1st and 2nd. And Rob Karns get his first big league hit. Strike 1. That's a good changeup. Karns gets a hold of one. It's going back pretty far. The left fielder did not get a good jump, and it's out of here. Rob Karns' first base hit is his first home run. Very similar to what Ariel Amador did. 96 off the bat. It goes 368 feet. Not a moonshot by any means, but it's a home run nonetheless. Karns gives us 3 runs in the top of the 2nd. Welcome to the Rockies, big fella. Now we're in the top of the 3rd. Still 3-0, 2 gone. Karns with an opportunity for even more RBIs. Got another decent one to hit. Center fielder got a bad jump, and that will fall in. Another base hit for Rob Karns, another RBI. He's responsible for all 4 so far today. The bases are now loaded for Brenton Doyle. If anybody can do it, it's him, I believe. Brenton Doyle, grand slam right here. Okay, that was hit pretty well to right, but not even remotely close to a grand slam. 4-0 Rockies, though. Bottom of the 4th, 4-0 Rockies still. Runners on 1st and 2nd for Clark Elliott. And this one is pretty far back here. Karns is underneath it. I've mentioned he has a little arm, and it gets punished there as the runner will advance to 3rd. Now the question is, what do we do when Ezequiel Tovar comes back? Do we keep Nolan Jones at 3rd base and let Tovar take Shortstop back over. Trade Brendan Rodgers. Keep the outfield the same with Verdugo in right. Do we trade Verdugo and put Nolan Jones back in right and keep Karns out there in left? Do we just send Karns back down, go back to what we were doing before with Tovar at third, Rodgers at short, and so on and so forth? A lot of options. Doyle hit a solo homer. Now we're in the top of the 7th. It's 5-0. And Karns is going to ground softly to short. Easy enough play. And that might be the end of Karns' day. It's not the end of Karns' day. 8-0 now for Colorado. Karns 2 for 4 on the day. Would love a 3 for 5. That'd be pretty nice. Karns' batting stance looks super, super familiar. I'll take a look at what animation he was given after this. And he is going to be 3 for 5. Straight back up the middle. Another single for Rob Karns. And that is game over. 8-1 is the final. We did finally give up 1 run, but a big victory for the Rockies. Rob Karns earns Player of the Day honors, gets his first big league hit, which was also a home run. Ends up going 3 for 5, and everyone did quite well, except for Barry Cohen, who was 0 for 4, but did have a walk. Michael King, by the way, 7 1/3 with only 1 earned run, 3 walks, 3 strikeouts. Good outing from him. So the Rockies sweep Oakland and now move on to a series against San Diego. Game 1 against San Diego is a 1-5 loss. Oviedo drops to 7-7. Hunter Goodman has some forearm tightness. We'll keep him active. And that is a 0-2 loss against San Diego. So a loss to a division rival. The Rockies now 58-35, 8.5 back of the Dodgers, but continuing to keep over 20 games above 500. Game 3 against San Diego is a 6-4 win. And it looks like Barry Cohen must have gotten the day off. Rob Karns, 3 more hits, is batting a .333 so far. 2 games set against the Angels. Hunter Goodman is back. 3-7 loss for Dolander and a 4-7 loss for Michael King, and it should only be the 1 more game until the MLB draft. So we'll sim through this game. Raimel Tapia is no longer injured. We'll utilize him, and it's a 3-6 loss against Philadelphia. That's 3 straight. And here we go. It's time for the 3rd draft in the series. So here's a guy that has jumped way up our draft board. That's Emery Reyes. He is a shortstop out of Venezuela, and he looks like he's going to be one of those guys that's just absolutely incredible out the gate. 80-95 overall, but his potential is only 68-83. The guy is almost guaranteed to have lower potential than he has overall, but he is also a guy that could make an immediate impact. I mean, 80-95 overall right out the gate is insane. Definitely adding him to the draft queue, and if he's available at like 31, 38, or 50, I would happily take him. The guys I'm after with my first pick, though, are perhaps Greg Zibzinski, though I'm not totally sold on him. He does seem pretty solid, and he's a lefty. Rafael Vasquez is interesting, but I absolutely do not want to take him with the 12th overall pick. Claudio Pineda is definitely a guy I am interested in taking around the 30s. I'll be honest with you guys, this is the worst I have ever felt about an MLB draft class. This class is just not strong in particular, it seems like, and I'm just not really that confident in any of the selections that I might make. But let's get into it. Let's head to the draft. We obviously have to wait a while for our pick, so let's go ahead and get it started. The first overall pick by the Oakland Athletics is Josh Foster, to absolutely no one's surprise. He looks like a very for sure thing as a starting pitcher. Probably a very, very good pick. Pick number 2 is Keaton Carlson, another starting pitcher, goes to the New York Mets. And pick number 3 is Tyrone McGowan, a guy I didn't know anything about. A closing pitcher, probably a very good player. My guess is that Greg Zibzinski is not going to make it to pick number 12. Roberto Cortez goes 4th overall. Frank Watson, who was clearly a very good pitcher, off the board. Tom Burkett goes next. And the Marlins take Big Z, Greg Zibzinski. We'll have to take a look at how good he was. Definitely a guy I was interested in, but not overly fond of. Derek Caldwell is the first baseman off the board. I didn't really have him scouted at all. It was not the archetype I was looking for. Reed Sinecor goes next, a shortstop from Washington, D.C. He was MLB draft ranked 29. I'm surprised he went in the top 10. Fernando Ibarra goes at 11, and we are on the clock. So it comes down to really only a couple guys. Jason Kaiser, potentially. Our top ranked available player that is at least somewhat scouted is Rafael Vazquez. My guess is that he has really good potential. I just don't like him that much. He's got good power, but he's got crap vision, crap discipline. He's not a good fielder, and he can only play first base and right field. And these are positions that we really kind of have locked up. Could also go with Steve Dolan here, listed as the MLB 13, our draft rank 30. Definitely don't need more outfielders, but he does look like he's a pretty solid player. I think the pick here is Jason Kaiser. He's a good fielder that we will move to catcher. He will have decent potential. It probably won't be fantastic, but it'll be pretty good. And he has big time power, and we have no power on this team at the moment. Jason Kaiser, welcome to the Colorado Rockies. Went ahead and simmed forward. A guy I was interested in, Honus Quisenberry, went off the board. Is there anyone else? Dan McCabe, Rafael Vazquez. Remind me, we need to take a look at how good he is, see if I whiffed. Claudio Pineda was a guy I liked a lot, and he went the pick before us. That's really unfortunate. I thought we'd be able to get him at 31. He goes at 30. So we're kind of already to a point where I just don't know what I want to do. There's nobody that I really want. This draft class has not been my favorite. Jose Herrera is available. He actually looks like a very quality player, and he's only 18 and will be coming out very strong already. Good power, good contact. He might be the pick here. Cosmo Rosales is a good option, I think, as well, although he is a reliever. Even though we don't need outfielders, Jose Herrera looks like a pretty for sure thing. I'm gonna take him here. Welcome to the team, Jose Herrera. Houston got back-to-back picks. They got Norris Freeman and Jim Brown, and then Mario Guadardo goes off the board. No one really I wanted here. I think the pick here at 38 is Emery Reyes. I know that he's probably going to have like 75 potential with 80s overall, and he's just going to regress, but he's going to immediately be able to make an impact, and we could potentially get him up to that 80 plus overall. It's a weird pick. I'm kind of here for it. He's a great fielder that can play everywhere in the infield. Good power, good contact, not bad vision and discipline. Emery Reyes, this is probably a whiff, but welcome to the Colorado Rockies. So we're on to pick number 50, and Luther Sposado is still here. I don't love him, but I don't hate him. He's a decent young reliever that's going to have okay potential. We've got what I can only assume is Eric Iwamura's brother, Elias Iwamura. I don't know anything about him really, though. I'm guessing that that potential really isn't great, but could be a pick. I'll be honest, I am not overly fond of any of the guys I have here. Maybe Cosmo Rosales, but for the 50th pick, I'm not too sure. I'm going to take the best available guy. I don't like the fact that I'm getting another righty starting pitcher. He's probably not anything super special, but he seems decent and he could be used in a trade. Ivan Valenzuela, welcome to the Colorado Rockies. Now we're on to pick number 89. I still have Roger Callaway here, and he does look like he'd be a quality prospect. I, of course, have Elias Iwamura, but I don't think I'm taking another righty starter. There's also Richard Chipper. I don't know a lot about him. I just barely found him, but his name is literally Dick Chipper, and his numbers look like they might be pretty good, but the 57 to 88 potential is absolutely terrifying. There's Juan Guardado, a catcher that I think probably is absolutely terrible. 36 to 54 starting overall. Oh my God, I have to pick right now. I totally forgot. We're gonna take Dick Chipper. Never mind, we're taking Roger Callaway. I forgot that we only get 1 minute. I wish it did something more to show you that. I thought I would have 4 minutes. Well, Roger Callaway's the pick. It's probably not a bad one. I was gonna panic pick Dick Chipper, but Roger Callaway is probably the better pick. Now on to pick 119. So now we're to the point where we could maybe just start drafting off of pure potential instead of taking these kind of crappy guys that are way down here. Travis Stevenson looks okay. I really don't want to take a righty starting pitcher. I'm gonna make a stupid pick strictly off of potential. Jorge Castro, a center fielder. Welcome to the team. Remember, guys, these guys can always be used in trades, so don't worry too much about the fact that I'm loading up on prospects, especially in the outfield and with starting pitchers. We can always just trade them away, and we're kind of to that point where a lot of these prospects are just going to be used in trades. We're on to pick 149, which is our second to last pick. Well, we're taking Juan Guardado, who does likely have very good potential potential, but feels very much like an Aiden Bryant pick. Already 21, is going to be absolutely miserable in terms of his overall. Is it a good pick because he has high potential? Sure, but he's also going to be like a 47 overall and take 9 years to develop, and he'll be like 30 by the time he can be at the majors. I don't love it. This draft class has been super tough. At this point, I think it's just about taking the best available guy, and unfortunately, I think that's Terrell Brewster. Welcome to the team, 18-year-old, 70 to 98 potential. Don't know a lot about you, but you've probably got high potential if you're that high on our draft board while being not ranked on the MLB board. And that is it. The draft is over. Philip Trowbridge ends up going to the Brewers. Man, my first 2 drafts, I feel like I knocked it out of the park. I do not feel very good about this one at all. There's a couple picks that I'm confident are good players. I didn't take nearly as many risks in this draft, and I don't know if that'll come back to bite me or not yet. So now that the draft is over, I went ahead and simmed the final game against Philadelphia, which Colorado won 7-1. I also simmed through the All-Star week, and you might be a little surprised to hear that Colorado did not have any All-Star game starters yet again, despite the fact that we have one of the best records in all of baseball currently. If we take a look at All-Star voting, the starting pitcher for the National League was Dustin May. Michael King was an All-Star, just not a starter. I really thought Barry Cohen was going to make the All-Star game, even if it was as a reserve, but somehow he got overtaken by Bryce Harper at the end. Barry was second in voting through much of the season, but I guess the slump that he's kind of currently in pushed him down to third, and Harper ended up as the reserve. Alex Verdugo did make it as a reserve, however, and he was the only other All-Star for the Rockies. If you're curious about all of the other positions and their All-Stars, you've got Tyler Rogers. Here are the closing pitchers. Here are the catchers, first baseman, second baseman, third baseman, shortstops, and then, of course, the outfield positions. And the designated hitter was Brandon Drury, which is honestly a little surprising. Where is Shohei? By the way, Ezequiel Tovar does return from his injury in 6 days' time, and I think at that point is when we deal Brendan Rodgers. So now let's do a little bit more player luck to round out the episode. The Rockies face off against the Minnesota Twins, one of the few teams in baseball with a better record than us currently, sitting at 62 and 35. Pablo Lopez on the mound today, and we will be player locked with Barry Cohen for this game. He's 5th in the National League in RBIs, currently in a bit of a slump though, down to a 273 average. I apologize for the delay between Rockies videos. Of course, with the college football game coming out, that kind of took all of my attention. So that's where I've been, but hoping to get more and more Rockies content out again. Grounder back up the middle for Barry Cohen, and that's going to be a single to start his day here in the top of the second. Alex Verdugo at the plate. Here comes the pitch. It's a swing and a miss. Goodbye, Alex. By the way, Brendan Rodgers is actually playing pretty well since returning from his injury. He was batting only about a 230 before. He's got that up to a 262. Although he did just ground into a double play. 2-0 Twins the next time we see Barry Cohen at the plate. 1-for-1 on the day. Pop up for Barry. That one's not going very far. That'll be the final out of the fourth. Now 4-0 for the Twins. I believe it is Chase Dolander on the mound for the Rockies in this one. Barry Cohen, 67 RBIs, is good for first on the Rockies now. Tovar, of course, had the lead before going down with the injury. We'll see if he can make any type of comeback when he is back. I'm hoping Tovar continues to play at the truly elite level when he returns, because he was blossoming into a superstar. It's been a long at bat for Barry Cohen. We've got the count full. I believe this next pitch is the 9th one, and it was a good one to hit. A little late on the swing and way underneath it, but it goes foul. Ball 4 for Barry Cohen as he takes his base on a walk, which brings up the 5-hitter again, Alex Verdugo, an opportunity to close the gap here. Kind of a soft grounder back to the pitcher. The only play is at first, so they get that out. Runners on second and third now, as Brendan Rodgers will come to the plate. 0 for 2 on the day so far. Does have pretty quality batting clutch, so he's not a terrible guy to have up in this situation. It's part of why he bats 6th and not further down the order. But it looks like, yeah, that one is going to be caught. Still nothing on the board for the Rockies. Still 4-0 as we enter the 8th inning. It looks like that's Nolan Jones over there on first. Barry Cohen turns on this one to short to first. That was a difficult double play, but the Twins managed to turn it 6-4-3. A Rockies loss today as the Twins were just too much. I don't know if we got fully shut out. I guess we'll see in a second. We did 4-0. 8 hits on the day. 3 of those were Rob Karns. Just a poor outing from Dollander. Those have kind of been few and far between this season, but an incredible outing from Pablo Lopez, who went 8 full innings. So it's our first day to sign some of these draft picks that we got. Should be pretty easy to get a guy like Jason Kaiser, and it looks like we should be able to get him pretty far under his slot value. So we will offer him $4.08 million. He declines despite the extremely high interest. We'll try with a different gentleman, Ivan Valenzuela, and he does sign with the Rockies. Juan Guardado is very interested in signing. He is going to be absolutely terrible out the gate, but should have high potential. And we submit the offer for him. He declines. And then the only other guy we can offer to right now is Roger Callaway, the third baseman. We will submit his offer. He declines as well. Bad luck on this attempt. Back in with some more player luck. It's Brenton Doyle. Barry Cohen hits an RBI single here in the second game against the Twins. Doyle with an opportunity to bat another one home. Doyle's stats this season haven't been the best, but they've been respectable, I guess you could call it. Batting a .231 with a .294 OBP and a .381 slugging percentage with a .674 OPS. But he does have a 1.6 WAR, and I know that a lot of that comes from his defense. This is all I've wanted from Brenton Doyle, just to have the bat be good enough. Doyle gets a pretty good hold of this one. As a hanging curveball deep to left. It's out of here. Home run for Brenton Doyle. 2-run shot. Brendan Rodgers was on second, and the lead increases for the Rockies. It's now 3-0. The 9th home run on the year for Brenton Doyle. 3-1 Rockies in the top of the 5th now. Doyle at the plate. Oh, and that was another hanging one, but well played by the third baseman, but it pulls him off the bag at first, and that is safe on a throwing error for Brenton Doyle. And we know how much of a risk he is on the base paths with that 98 speed. And in fact, I'm going to take off here. Although, is this one going to get down? It does. I misplayed that with the base running, but it is what it is. Grounder, will it get through? No, but there's a throwing error. Doyle's going to take off for home, and that's going to score a run. Maybe should have been the end of an inning, but another throwing error brings Brenton Doyle home. It's only fitting. It's how he got to first in the first place. Verdugo hits a 2 RBI single, and it's 6-1 for the Rockies here in the 6th. Can Doyle get on base again? It looks like he's going to, as that one is going to get down. Doyle, the type of guy that can stretch a play like this into a double, and he does. If that one error were actually a single, he'd only be a triple shy of the cycle. That brings up Luis Ariz with 2 runners in scoring position, one of the best guys on the team to have at the plate with runners in scoring position. As Ariz will bloop this one, and it is going to get down. And that will score the runner from third. Doyle going to hold up there. And the Rockies have kind of blown this one wide open. It's 7-1 now in the top of the 6th. Rosario at the plate. It's that one out of the dirt. And a diving attempt. I meant to hold Doyle up. Okay. That's crazy. We advance to the 8th. It's 7-4 for the Rockies. Twins making a little bit of a comeback. Unfortunate base running mistake with Doyle there. I did start to go, but then I held back on the analog stick and he just didn't stop. So, you know, it is what it is, as I'm way early on the slurve. Swing and a miss for Brenton Doyle, but it's been a good day for him so far. Hopefully the Twins cannot complete this comeback, though. Rockies take the victory in this one, taking the second game 9-4, as we even got a couple more runs batted in. The Rockies' 62nd win on the season, as Doyle named the player of the game, and Michael King gets another victory. Not the best outing for him, though. although he did only allow 2 earned runs. Here's how everyone did. Mejia batting up to a 270 now, which is much improved. Verdugo with 3 more RBIs. He has been the second best RBI guy on the team since Tovar went down. Cohen with 68 total on the season. Verdugo up to 61. I absolutely at this point don't think we can trade him away. He's just playing way too well. And for the final player lock game of the episode, it's the game of the week, and it's gonna be Brendan Rodgers in what very well might be his last appearance as a Rocky. Soon to have Ezequiel Tovar back. Not much need for Rodgers at that point. We can trade him away, something I've been honestly trying to do since season number 1 and just have not found the right deal. Johan Oviedo on the mound for the Rockies. He's only thrown 2 pitches and he's gotten 2 outs. And here is the 3rd out. 3 pitches, 3 outs for Johan Oviedo. Rockies up 1-0 in the top of the 2nd, and we've got Rodgers at the plate. And that one is going to be stabbed out of the air. Unfortunately, it was well struck by Brendan Rodgers. Fast forward again. Doyle hits a solo home run, and it's 2-0 for Colorado as we're back in the field with Brendan Rodgers. One thing I will miss, he is a pretty good fielder, although not nearly as good as a guy like Ezequiel Tovar. Back up to bat again in the 4th, 2-0 Colorado still. Rodgers gonna push this one into right field. That'll get down for a base hit. With his slow speed, that's only a single. A couple guys on the team probably would have turned that into a double, but Rodgers is slow. 2 outs in the 4th, and it's a grounder onto first that's gonna end the inning. Top 6 now as we fast forward. 2-0 Colorado still, as the Twins can't get on the board. Oviedo must be pitching quite the gem so far. And this is going to be a pop-up to pretty deep right center, but obviously not nearly deep enough. And now we just skip all the way to the 8th immediately. Nothing happened in between. Still 2-0. Runner on first for Rodgers as he looks at a fastball down. Swing and a miss on a circle change. And Rodgers goes down on strikes. Okay, here comes the offense. 6-1 for the Rockies now. Doyle with even more RBIs. I saw that in the top left. He must be playing kind of out of his mind recently. Rodgers got a decent one to hit, although it was a little outside, and it does actually bloop in. I was not expecting that. I thought that was just a fly out for Brendan Rodgers, but it's yet another single. Top of the 9th. 3-0 count for Rob Karns. Hit one deep, Rob. No, he walks. Definitely be keeping a very close eye on the performance of Rob Karns. He was honestly seeing a weird amount of regression where he was playing at AAA and AA as Mejia strikes out to end the top of the 9th, and that should do it unless the Twins mount a serious comeback. They do not mount the comeback. The Rockies take the victory, and like I said, what could be the final game of Brendan Rodgers' Rockies career just kind of depends on when Ezequiel Tovar is ready. Probably going to be a few more days, so he might get a couple more chances, but could be his last time on the channel at the very least. Brenton Doyle, another player of the game, and Oviedo, really good outing. 7 2/3, 1 earned run. By the way, if you didn't know, Christian Yelich is now a Twin, and they also traded for Tommy Metzger, a guy who was drafted in year 1 to the New York Mets and has found his way to the Twins and is typically a starter, did not play today. It's an off day for the Rockies, and it is another day to sign draft picks. So we can offer Jose Herrera his contract. His demand is $3 million. We're pretty much on the dot, and we do actually get Jose Herrera to sign. We will also try that with Emery Reyes, one of the weirdest draft picks I've ever made. He expects $1.7 million. His slot value is 2.2. I'll go up a little bit to a 1.8, meet in the middle, and he likes that deal. This is a weird signing. I do think that he will be in the 80s in terms of his overalls. So he'll be really good for like one season, and then he's going to fall off a cliff. Very bizarre, and I'm kind of here for it. It's fun. We'll give Jason Kaiser another try. He expects $3 million, while the minimum I can give you is 3.78, my friend. We're going to go up to $4 million for him. and he does accept that. So a new first baseman for the Rockies, obviously the backup potentially of the future for our man Barry Cohen, with a lot of power. And he's going to be pretty good out the gate, 65 to 80 overall. We will give Roger Callaway another opportunity to sign, and we'll just submit immediately, and he declines again. Other one we need to offer to is Juan Guardado, and he declines as well, despite his big time interest. And here is the official trade block. These are the players teams are fully willing to trade away, and I do notice that Mackenzie Gore is on this list. They want Sterling Thompson and Alex Verdugo and a couple other trades. It looks like all of them will involve Thompson in some way, although here's one for Verdugo and Veen and Verdugo and Rogers. Could do this Sterling Thompson Zach Veen trade if we wanted to. Let me know what you guys think. One other thing is that it's time for potentially some contract extensions. A lot of these guys still have some team control. Nolan Jones still has 2 more years of arbitration, but his arbitration is starting to get very expensive. So do we offer him a contract now? What does he want? 5 years, 21.6 million per year. But I think I'll come back to this one. We may give him 1 more year of arbitration, or we may just look to do this extension in the offseason. Barry Cohen still has 1 more year of renewal and then 3 years of arbitration. He's only 19 and he's already an 89 overall. This guy is a menace. But for now, we can still get him for 1 more year of renewal for very, very cheap. And while that's possible with a guy like Barry Cohen, that's what we're going to do. But in good faith, I'll go all the way up to 900K just because the guy is disgusting. Do we want to re-sign Michael King? I'm sort of thinking that we probably do. He's 30 years old. He's been incredible for us this season. 13-4 on the year, 3.05 ERA, 1.28 whip. He was obviously an all-star. The fun thing about Michael King is that he actually wants less money per year the lower that we go. So I'd be super interested in doing a 2-year extension where he costs even less than we're paying him this season. Although it says he's looking for 11.2 million a year, but when we lower it to that actual price, his interest level is quite low. And apparently we're not currently considered a contender in his eyes, despite the fact that we have one of the best records in baseball and are almost certainly making the playoffs at this point. So I think we'll come back to Michael King, but I do want to re-sign him. He'll be much easier to re-sign when we have the contender status after we make the playoffs this season. Johan Oviedo is a guy that we could re-sign. He has 1 more year of arbitration as well, so we don't necessarily have to. He is asking for a decent chunk of change, 9.5 million per year for 5 years. Also have to consider that Oviedo's numbers aren't the best. They're pretty just average. The ERA at a 3.87 is quality for sure. The FIP at a 4.16 is a bit high. His walk rate is obviously insanely high, but his K per 9 rate this year is insane at an 8.8, and he's gained a +6 to K per 9 on the season. I want to say his true potential is an 87, so he does still have more climbing he can do, and he is only 28. He's fairly young still. I think we'd probably do the 1 more year of arbitration with him and then try to re-sign him next season, or at that point re-evaluate. And I think for now, that's all we'll look at for contract extensions, but let me know what you guys think. But anyway, that is going to end today's episode. Thank you guys so much for watching. And again, I apologize for the delay between the last episode and this one. I'll try to be getting these out a little more consistently now, and we'll probably go over bigger stretches of time in the calendar going forward, just because these videos are coming out less frequently. But thank you guys so much for watching. I truly appreciate the continued support. If you find yourself coming back on the regular and you aren't already subscribed, go ahead and hit that sub button for me. It does help me out a lot, and I'll see you guys in the next episode where we'll see the ratings of those draft picks and finish out the month of July.